2023 saw many big events. Some provided good news, most provided bad news. From democracies in decline, to conflict and war, to a climate in peril, here's a look back at the year that was, with an eye toward how these events will shape the year to come. Number 10, democracy is in retreat.
Democracy almost just broke down in Guatemala.
Whether it is coups in Africa, the militarization of politics in Asia, or the assault on the rule of law in the Americas, democratic institutions are under attack, imperiling liberty everywhere.
The fact that people on the street of Niger, on the street of Mali, on the street of Burkina Faso, and now in Gabon are welcoming the military does not bode well for democracy in Africa.
Number 9, the space race heats up. Space was once the domain of the superpowers. Today, the heavens are open to everyone. Both countries and companies are rushing into space, fueling dreams of prosperity and nightmares of great power conflict.
From a Space Force perspective, we're in a little bit of a different spot in that we are now contesting a domain that just 10 years earlier, 15 years earlier, wasn't the case. And so we're really trying to build for a different what on a different timeline.
Number 8, India now has the most people of any country in the world.
With a population of 1.428 billion people, the South Asian nation is home to nearly a fifth of humanity.
India's youthful population is fueling a vibrant economy. Meanwhile, China's shrinking and aging population are raising critical questions about its economic and political future.
The Chinese economy is about to become a machine for taking care of ancient parents and in-laws, and that's going to make for big demands for social welfare benefits for older people.
Demography isn't destiny, but it's close. Number 7, Azerbaijan seizes Nagorno-Karabakh.
After years of unrest and upheaval, the war between Nagorno-Karabakh and Azerbaijan is finally over.
Azerbaijan launched a lightning offensive against the Armenian enclave in Nagorno-Karabakh. Crushing Azerbaijani victory ended a 3-decade-old war and triggered a mass exodus from Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia.
Over 100,000 Armenians have fled the enclave of Nagorno-Karabakh since September, and the question now is what happens to those 100,000 living inside Armenia, as well as the larger question of whether a stable, sustainable peace can be created in this very volatile region.
Number 6, civil war racks Sudan. A bid by a paramilitary force to take power from the ruling Sudanese military plunged Africa's 3rd largest country into a horrific civil war. Millions were displaced as diplomatic efforts to arrange a ceasefire went nowhere.
The conflict in Sudan is an absolute horror show for the Sudanese people. Sudan's potential disintegration here is incredibly destabilizing for an already really tough neighborhood.
Number 5, AI evolved at a breathtaking speed in 2023.
Doctors hope AI can help save lives.
Artificial intelligence is being used to expand the power of radiology.
Optimists hailed the advances as opening a new era of creativity and prosperity. Pessimists warned that AI was opening a Pandora's box that would doom humanity.
It is becoming harder to define what is human because we are changing what is human, and AI is going to facilitate that faster than anything any of us have ever experienced.
Number 4, U.S.-China tensions continue to simmer.
Since President Nixon visited China, the bilateral relationship right now is in its lowest point, no doubt about that.
If China were to annex Taiwan, the United States would find it far more difficult to defend its allies in the region, while China would gain significant power projection.
A conflict with China over Taiwan would be catastrophically destructive. The human costs are almost, it's impossible. So making a deterrence by denial strategy work, preventing World War III is, I think, the near-term objective.
Hopes that China and the United States would place guardrails around their growing geopolitical rivalry were dashed when a Chinese spy balloon crossed the United States in January. A Biden-Xi meeting in November was polite, but failed to yield any major breakthroughs.
The goal of the meeting was to stabilize the relationship heading into 2024, when there'll be elections in Taiwan and, of course, in the United States. There was some modest progress on issues like fentanyl and establishing military-to-military communications, but perhaps the most important outcome of the meeting was that the meeting itself took place.
Number 3, Ukrainians hoped that their summer counteroffensive would break through Russian defenses, but 5 months of fighting produced only meager territorial gains. As winter set in, the two countries seemed locked in a bloody war of attrition.
What Russia is trying to do cannot succeed. It's the wrong direction for our world, and they can't redraw the lines on a map or resettle what the international rules-based order is. That's why Ukraine matters.
Number 2, a new Middle East war dealt a profound setback to efforts to build a lasting peace in the region.
Hamas's recent attack on Israel is of unprecedented scope and effectiveness.
Israel's devastating retaliation degraded Hamas's military capabilities, but at a heavy price for Palestinian civilians.
I think that it is going to be far more devastating and costly in human lives.
Palestinians want to live in peace and freedom and dignity alongside the state of Israel.
Just as troubling, a wider war remains a possibility.
It's important to see the conflict in Gaza in the context of the confrontation between Iran and Israel. Those two countries have been engaged in what's referred to as a shadow war in recent years. That's what makes a northern front, including Iran's proxy Hezbollah, well within the realm of possibility.
Number 1, climate change is no longer a future threat, but a current reality. Global temperatures continue to set new records.
A fierce heat wave is gripping parts of Europe with temperatures reaching more than 40 degrees Celsius.
Most of our area under an air quality alert because of smoke blowing south from more than 100 wildfires burning all the way in Quebec.
Even if you don't care about climate change, you have to realize what's happening now with the heat waves, the wildfires, the flooding, matters for our security.
Governments continue to meet in solemn forums that produce more pledges than action. Humanity may have missed its chance to avoid catastrophic climate change.
Carbon taxes are not a better idea. Because they won't fly. They're just talk. And we need to get past the talk because my grandchild's time is running out.